What's going on, YouTube? We're back for episode 3 of Cosmic Crucible Live with the one and only, the infographic king, the tutorial genius that is the man himself, Pathfinder Gaming. How are you doing, sir?
I am good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I think I just ready to hit a wall in Cosmic Crucible just before you popped in, and a little frustrated, so I kind of thinking about what to do. One
Oh
of those
no.
interesting hybrids where you're not sure how to really approach it. But
Yeah.
how did you already do your round 2 so far?
Nope. I'll be streaming right after this. So I'm actually fighting SeggsyJexy
Oh,
in
nice.
Crucible.
Okay.
So
That's going to be really fun to watch. I think we've seen all his videos on YouTube as well, and we'll definitely be watching. And by the way, we'll probably just send everyone over there when you get on. So
cool.
that'll be at least a thank you for joining us today. So, from a Cosmic Crucible standpoint, what have you been enjoying a lot about the season so far? Obviously, we've had Taka on, we've had Purple Sticky on. We're still lining up next week, but from your opinion, what are you liking about it? What are you not liking about it?
I think what I like the most about this season compared to the quote unquote preseason is I don't feel like that everybody is putting very specific things in very specific rooms, right? Like last season, what did we always see in the City Mystic room? We always saw the new warriors. We always saw them probably paired with like Dormammu or Dark Hunters or something like that. It got boring.
Mm-hmm.
This time I've really felt like there's been a variety and everything seems to be more useful. I love the mutant global buff because it really, it kind of puts it into perspective where like, hey, your mutants are going to be stronger. I don't necessarily recommend like building up your mutants just for Crucible, but for those that you have, you can actually kind of make some cool hybrids that stop, other things from being as useful as it once was. So I think for me, like playing around with defenses this season has been much more fun, and I just feel like there's more that we can do with our rosters because of the way that they've changed it for season one.
Yeah, I like this trend. I think the global buff was something different than we had usually seen, and making mutants valuable, overall was great. What has been the trickiest thing you've come across so far up to this point?
Man, I think it's got to be Gamma in Room 6 for
Mm-hmm.
me. Uh, the only match that I've dropped in the last, I want to say 3 weeks, is because of a Gamma in Room 6. So it was one of those deals where I was trying a hybrid that I got from SeggsyJexy and just misplayed it
Yep.
because Gamma in Room 6 is just a totally different animal. And so ended up dropping that match. That's probably been the team that's given me the most hang up. Tangled Web at first was kind of like that, but I think we've got some pretty established counters now for
Yeah,
Tangled Web.
I agree. I think Tangle Web in the beginning was there, and I think people started experimenting with Infinity Watch, and then there was Dorm Watch, and I think you and I were there at the same time when we were both trying to play around with that, and that has a lot of RNG to it. But what I've found is mirroring Tangle Web is the most efficient way to kill it. You just throw Emma on the team with 2099, and you will go first, and then you can control Weaver to death. And you finish the fight quicker than if you're doing one of those other counters that were there. I've seen the Eternal Zemo one work on that team as well. There's different variations, but I think we've got it pretty figured out at this point. But you're right, Gamma is a problem, and especially in Room 6 because it takes away Uncanny. Although I felt like one week I almost got it. I thought I was going to close it with Uncanny, and didn't. So, what combinations have you found have worked? I know there's a lot out there. You said the one from SeggsyJexy, and then there's Dorky has the one, probably the same. I'm not sure. I haven't seen his, but that's the Omega Red, Emma, Star Lord, Doom, and Red Guardian. You
Yeah,
know,
so I've been using Red Guardian, Doom, Dormammu with really it doesn't, I don't think it matters too much what the last two are, but I've been using Scarlet Witch and Shang-Chi
okay.
as the Room 6 counter. Doom goes boom basically first turn right after Red Hulk goes, and he brings Dormammu along with him, and Dormammu just is able to explode the other team basically. So
Yeah.
I do find that you really have to switch Doom to Skirmisher if you want to do that. Because if you don't have the vulnerable, then you're not going to be getting those double taps. Whether you're using Omega Red or Dormammu, you will have to have Doom as either Raider or Skirmisher.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't even think about that. I think I currently have my striker myself. Probably why it didn't work. So when
It still works. It's just way it takes way longer, so you're losing efficiency points. And I also feel like it's a little shakier when
mhm.
Dormammu isn't getting the double taps.
Yeah, and so that's an interesting way to look at it too. Is I'm wondering if like I've seen the counters with Undying in War. I don't know how effective it will be in Crucible just because the team's so much slower than in War. But obviously with Zombie Iron Man's ult, he can strip those charges from the highest resistance. I don't know if anyone's tried to counter or tested it, but I think the only one we know is foolproof, and it almost makes me rethink because now everyone's shifting Gamma into Room 6. It's like, do you just reserve unlimited X-Men for that? And then if that's the case, do you have a good Dark Hole counter?
I've been just using unlimited on Darkhold. If I'm being honest, I find
Yeah.
that the Doom Dorm combo is very consistent in that it just blows them up. Red Hulk doesn't really get to take a turn
Mm-hmm.
other than his first one where he's rewinding. And I mean, I just did one going up against almost 1.3 mil gamma, and it wasn't in room. Well, no, it was in room 6. So, uh, 1.1.25 I think was the gamma team, and it worked. And I even messed it up. I didn't run Doom as skirmisher or raider, so I wasn't getting any double taps with Dormammu, and I think it still worked. But I don't know. I've my gamma team has had wins against unlimited as well, so I feel like it's all up to the player,
Yeah.
right? Whoever's piloting the team. But I do think that my unlimited usually goes for the team that I feel less or the least amount of or the most amount of concern about.
So
So it depends on who it is.
and that makes a lot of sense. So what the Axeman, I think most people have figured it out. Like I just came across an Axeman that has Cloak and Dagger with it, and this kind of changes the dynamic of using like an SA Kestrel Shang. Makes it a little bit tougher. Have you seen any weird hybrids like that have kind of given you a challenge?
The only the only real mutant team that like I feel like has been challenging is when you have like a giga uncanny.
Hmm.
And I mean like Storm is yoked out, Magic is yoked out. If you can't kill that Storm before she takes her turn, you're done. You're just dead.
Yeah. For the most part, I have not even seen that many that big. Even where where I'm at in my rankings, like the uncannies are generally from like 7 to 800, but yeah, those ones that are up there in the millions, I'm sure, are got to be a nightmare. I've yet to see one.
Yeah.
Most of them are using them on offense because I think they're all looking for Gamma and Five, but I think that meta is now shifted. Have you used Undying in Crucible so far?
I use them, yes, or what was today, the video that came out today. So I used Undying. It was overkill for sure. I used the Eternals and Emma with Undying to take out a Young Avengers, but it was a respectable Young Avengers. It was like 950k. So they did really well.
What is the power level you have on Undying right now?
Yeah, so my Hela, I have her. They're both G16, so take it with a grain of salt, right?
Hmm?
I decided to just go in on that team. So Hela is 180k. She's 7 yellow, 6 red. And then Zombie Iron Man is just 3 stars, level 85. But they're just, oh, the Gregs, I feel like there's so many good things about that team, but Greg is really the star of the show, I think.
Oh yeah, now, you have all the T4s on the team, I'm assuming as well.
I have everything but the basic on Hela and everything but the basic on Iron Man Zombie. But the nice thing about Iron Man Zombie, he doesn't need the T4s unless you want to do stuff in war.
Yeah, that's true. So we got a couple comments in chat here. Just to say, Apex is saying he fought Jubilee, Phoenix, Beast, Bishop, and Gambit in Room 6 and thought it was hell. It does sound like hell. And Jay Gusti is saying TW and Undying is not fun to deal with if you leave Axeman defense. I can see that. I just fought one right before we started this, and it wasn't an issue, but I used the mirror match again. So I think that's something to consider is like, Tangle Web is a CC specific team. So, why not use them on offense and, have one less headache to deal with, especially if you have Gamma. And I think that's really what it comes down to is like, it used to be, use unlimited against Darkhold and figure out what to do with Gamma, but now it might be the opposite way around. But to your point, it's so much RNG to it that, if you don't pilot it well, it's going to go south. Um, when we talk about like Wakanda, let's take a second and shift there for a minute because obviously we know we got the War Dogs coming out, and we've got the old Wakanda team that people are mostly using on defense for the most part. I think some people are using it on offense more this season than last. You know, what are you doing with Wakanda? Where are you finding uses for them today? And then what do you see or anticipate as changes with the new team, the new members coming out?
Yeah, so right now I am just having them on defense, and I have Taskmaster as a fifth instead of M'Baku. I don't think it really changes the match a whole lot. I mean, if you take Young Avengers into that, you're still going to win.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Infinity Watch counter it. I believe today, let me check today, but a Magneto hybrid countered my Wakandans today. So on defense, I really don't feel like they're that formidable right now.
Yep.
In my opinion, Black Panther 1 million BC is going to change the team a lot. I feel like the best way for me to describe him is Killmonger on steroids and with extra stuff in his kit, right? Like he
Yes.
steals positive effects and spreads them to the team. He does massive amounts of damage with a chain. Just everything he does is like multiple parts of the team combined into one character. And so he's going to be great. I don't know how I feel about Nakia yet. Obviously, her damage stat is through the roof.
Yes.
I mean, highest damage, like standalone, not taking into consideration like team buffs or anything like that. I'm pretty sure she has the highest damage in the game, and I don't know what her place is other than just damage. It'll be interesting to see because originally I thought it was going to be Killmonger would be the fifth if you wanted to go full offense, and Baku would be the fifth if you wanted to have some defense with a taunt and all of that.
Yep.
But I don't know. Nakia's damage set is not playing around.
Yeah, Jay Goosey's asking how many stars do you think you'll need him to outperform Killmonger? I mean, it's hard to know that yet. I think as the way these stats are increasing, release after release, I'd say it won't take much. Use Zombie Iron Man as an example. Like you don't need much for them to perform. I think I agree with you. I think with the addition of Nakia and Black Panther 1 million BC, the team is going to be strictly an offensive team, and it's going to make it really tough. To who knows what they'll be. That might be the new solution to Darkhold based on what they're advertising it to.
Yeah, and if they so we're just going off of speculation here, but I'm pretty sure Black Panther 1 million BC is going to be the next month long event.
Mm-hmm.
If it's as generous as 2099 or maybe even a little less generous, I think he's going to be useful because I got my 2099 with some luck to 5-star. And if I'm able to do that, and I may get an offer just because I'm that excited about Black Panther 1 million BC, but I think if you get him up to 4 or 5 stars, he'll be viable.
What are for the other mutants you're using? Let's look at Axeman, X Factor, Uncanny. Are you using them primarily offensively or defensively currently?
Yeah, most of my mutants are on defense. Right now, I have the Axeman trio with Tangled Web. Uncanny, I have them on offense, but I have not used them on offense. I haven't really felt the need for them. So maybe that changes in the future. I just don't have the Uncanny team that built up. But I'm using a slew of other mutants like Psylocke. I have her built up, so she's on a team on defense. But most of them are on defense.
What's been your most favorite team to use
On offense,
on offense?
oh man. I mean, the easy answer, right, is unlimited, just
Mm,
because you can just do crazy punch ups this season with unlimited. I mean, you can do 500, 600K punch ups with unlimited. I mean, my unlimited took out I want to say like a 500k punch up on another unlimited.
Jeez, yeah.
It was just crazy.
And just
But I also really am enjoying Infinity Watch again.
hmm,
Uh, them coming back and countering a lot of these tangled web teams has actually been really interesting for me.
yeah, even with some of the power creep, they're still viable, still a top team in the game. And I don't know how worth they are investing at this point, but if you had them invested, that you're still going to get a lot of use out of them. Oh, we got a comment here says Darkhold's still a problem. I didn't have that impression for a moment. It's not that it's a problem. It's more of like, you have turtle defenses, and when you have to deal with a Gamma and a Darkhold, especially with Gamma in Room 6, it becomes a little more of a problem because I think Unlimited is the king, and you would like to use Unlimited to give you your best chance to one-shot Gamma, but then you would still need an option for Darkhold. So, like, if this Wakandan team is adds these two new characters, and now they're strong enough to beat Darkhold, then that solves another potential problem and frees up your unlimited for the bigger problem, which we all know right now is Gamma and Room. Um,
Yep.
as far as the SC team, right? I know, right? It's way too early to tell, but I'm already starting to see him in hybrids. And it sounds like you have as well. Do you have any good theory crafting ideas on how you're looking to use them at this point?
Uh Man, right now I'm just trying to utilize Magneto, his speed that he gets when you pair him with Brotherhood or
Mm,
other Death Seed allies to try to get him to go quick and possibly throw people off in a counter. I think that Psylocke has some potential to use her on teams that maybe don't have a cleanser. So if you're trying like I don't know what a great example would be, but just having somebody to throw all those negative effects back at you
yep.
on that first turn. And they're I mean, Psylocke is kind of packing a punch in terms of damage at this point. The the when the whole team comes out, I don't know what I'm gonna do with him. I mean, Archangel, I have to assume, is gonna be crazy good.
Yep.
The fifth character, whoever it is gonna have to be really good based on the kits I've seen so far. And Dark Beast, I'm a little disappointed that you can't use a lot of his kit outside of raids. I was pretty
Yeah.
excited, like to be able to clone and all of that, and knowing that you're not going to be able to use that outside of raids, kind of seems like he'll be replaced
Yeah.
potentially.
I think so potentially. Do you think always that always assist element to it almost feels like a little bit of a Nebula on Infinity Watch, but again, Nebula is the first one we usually pull out for any type of hybrid anyway. Are you looking at the fifth being the one that ties it together, or do you think Archangel is going to be the one that ties it together?
I think Archangel will have to be the one that ties it
Yep,
together, right? I mean, without Rogue, Unlimited's still a great team, but they don't have nearly as much potency. Darkhold without Morgan Le Fay, same thing. So I think that Archangel will bring the team like over the top. I do think the fifth is going to have to be like a I don't know, Hulk or Gambit type of character.
hmm,
I do think Magneto brings a lot to them in raids, but outside of raids, they feel like they need a little bit more to really be pushing up there with a lot of these teams that we're seeing. But I do think that Archangel's gonna tie them together.
yeah. I mean, the trend with the Horsemen has been they're just all OP as anything, and then
Right.
obviously, who do you speculate is the fifth? What's your prediction?
I've been saying for a while I think it'll be Nightcrawler. Everybody seems to think it's going to be somebody else because the whole healer thing.
Yep,
But let's be honest, guys, they can do whatever they want with any character and make the kit based on whatever they want. So
true.
my fifth prediction is still Nightcrawler.
I hope it's Nightcrawler. I think it's about time. It could be maybe Quicksilver. That could be another one.
Yeah,
You know, but
I think that they're gonna spring Nightcrawler on their extended break, and that's gonna be like their break glass in case of emergency. Hey, we're going on break. Here's Nightcrawler. Have fun.
yeah,
That's my prediction.
somebody's throwing out their Havoc. Like if they do Havoc, you'd almost want to put them on X Factor. I would think.
Yeah.
And there's your fifth right there for that team. And they got that plan for some way to monetize it down the line here.
Oh yeah.
Um, so you're way up there in Cosmic Crucible. I've watched a lot of your fights, and you're fighting some big time names. And like, who's been your most favorite opponent so far? What's been your most memorable fight? It might be today's.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Jex put up a really good score, and I'm gonna have to be pretty efficient in order to beat him. I think the most memorable ones are like when you beat like a Kraken, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're punching up 10 million, and you just have this like, hey, I got defensive wins on this guy. I full cleared him. Like we're looking good. I think my favorite match has been I went up against I want to say last week like a 37 mil guy. He didn't full clear me and I full cleared him. And I was just like, man, you gotta take those wins when you can. And it's always, just to say it, I faced Boylon 3 times
Wow.
and I am happily 3-0 against Boylon. So those are always fun too. It's always fun to face people that you know, right? Like that
Yes.
are influential in the community.
I agree. I mean, I think I'm still waiting for that matchup. I haven't had one yet. I don't know if you knew this, but I matched up in the same group as T Dub um,
Oh.
the week after he quit. So
Oh
it never
no.
got to happen. So it was
Oh.
I mean, if he would have played it out, I'm sure we would have matched up. But he didn't play that week at all, so he ended up in the bottom group, and just automatically. But that would have been great. I think
Yeah.
Purple Sticky and I have always been looking at like he's one that him and I are always looking at the leaderboard, seeing like this might be the week, this might be the week, because we definitely want to do something for it once it happens. Because I think we're right around the same score, so I mean we're
Yeah.
looking for that. Um,
Oh, for sure. I
who's
mean, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say who's the one person you want to match up with in the community?
Oh man. Who would I want to match up with? I don't even know who's around me. I mean, some of the guys that I talk to on a regular basis, like a Thame, Juicy,
Mm-hmm.
like getting matched up with those guys would be super fun because I mean they would be totally willing to come on stream and probably do a match together.
Yep.
So that would be fun. Man, I'm really looking forward to this Jex match later tonight. That'll be a good one. It's gonna be close. I think he kind of went full offense, so should be fun. It would be fun getting matched up with you. I mean, really anybody that is definitely willing to come on and like do a attack one attack at a time, kind of
Yep.
like how Dorky Dad and Taco Shooter had a match going up against each other. Big shout out to Taco Shooter who won that one. Um, but yeah, I mean, those would be what I would look forward to the most. And then I just I want to be a master so bad.
How close are you at this point? Where are you at?
If I go 3-0 this round, I should be right at the cusp. I'm at 1858 right now.
Okay, so
So
you are
you got to
really
be
close.
yeah, you got to be 1875. So if I get 2 more wins, I'm in. So it's a lot of pressure.
Codename says, "Isn't the correct response to Dono Mac?" Maybe that's the goal. I think I look at the leaderboards and he's not number one. So there's always that.
Oh, I would rather face Zubin if
Yeah,
I'm being honest.
yeah. Zoom would be more fun. I love to take a shot at. I love my chance to crack at Reminex, and I know I'm getting close to that point where he's. I think he just dropped down to Masters 2, so like there's that little gap overlap where it's actually could happen. I know Prince of Peace has faced him recently, and him and I are around the same spot. Um, you know, I think for me, that's a hard call. I think I'd love to face Mobile. I think that would be good because I think he's a little in front of me, but I think it's definitely doable. Or Reminex is one I'd love to do. But if we ever pair up, I'm 1,000% down to do attack for attack. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I gotta climb up there first.
You're we're within 30 points of each other, so I think you, myself, Purple Sticky, we're all in that same like 30 point, ebb and flow. So it's definitely possible. Prince of Peace said I almost had him. Prince is really close. So I think Prince and I have almost the same point. So Prince of Peace, you and I might end up matching up at some point as well. Um, I guess, what do you think of Cosmic Crucible as a whole? Compared to the other game modes, is it your favorite? Is it something you deal with? I know you have goals and masters, and I was going to ask you that earlier, but you already answered that. Um, But what's your overall opinion of the game mode?
Yeah, so I would say my favorite game mode period is raids, and I've been very fortunate to be in the alliance that I'm in. Been together for a long time, and
Mhm.
I mean, we crush raids as soon as we can get to the next tier. We do. I mean, we're going to be trying to push, 3.5. One of the early alliances to push 3.5 if we can, because we all just want to go hard in raids. But I think Crucible is, I would say it's the most fun that I've had in the game, especially like creating content. It's been the most fun because when you can stream it too. Like Tuesday is one of the nights that I look forward to a lot in the week because I get to stream Cosmic Crucible with everybody watching and have a good time. But it's also the only game mode that's solely dependent on you
Yes.
and your skills and your creativity in challenging other players. And I feel like the higher you push up, the more players actually know what they're doing and it becomes even more of a challenge, and that's what I love so much about it. I think it's the best thing that they've done in a long time.
Yeah, it is. I like the idea as you push up higher and you get to the higher skill level, like you're saying, is it becomes a battle of who can be faster, not necessarily who's going to full clear. Because I think when you're going up through diamond, it's people are clearing 5 rooms, 4 rooms, but when you get to that cusp of masters and above, like everyone's clearing everything. So now it's just a matter of who can do it better,
Yep.
and that's where the skill comes into play. As far as when I look at these teams that are being released, like Tangle Web, 3-person team, leaving the theory crafting to be open for discussion. Do you like that better, or do you like more of the hey, all of Wakanda's Crucible related? What do you prefer and why?
Yeah, I would definitely prefer being able to theory craft.
Hmm.
And I think there's two reasons behind it actually. So number one is that you can change the team and get different results, right? Like we can add in different characters and get different results. You have the global buffs right now. The Dad Bros variant was really hot for a while. You have, people are now starting to throw in like Dormammu with that team and make them
Yep.
even, more formidable that you have to really throw the kitchen sink at it. But I think the second thing that I like about it is a 3-person team isn't so overpowered that everything loses to it.
Yep.
Like we found Infinity Watch, the full Infinity Watch can beat almost all the Tangled Web hybrids. And it's an older team. And so it's more balanced when we have these 3-man teams. It's like, hey, throw in some other characters with these guys and you can kind of mix and match and create different hybrids that achieve different results. But it's not so overpowered like Darkhold was when it first came out. Like what are we 6 months past Darkhold being fully out now, or
Yep.
probably even longer. But I mean, that was the team, right? Everybody used that. That everybody dominated with that. The higher you had on Darkhold, the better you would do. But with this, it's like you really, it's more balanced.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And it's even with Undying, right? Like I mean, we all know all of the anger that came out with Undying, and I think what people are starting to realize is like, you know what? It was more free to play friendly than people realized. One, two, yes, it was OP in some of the results, but some really old teams beat it pretty easily, such as like an Axemen or a Symbiotes, because like they'll just never take a turn. It's just what
Yep.
it's actually surprisingly really balanced. Do you think this is the direction they're going now, where you have those caveats, or do you think that was done accidentally?
I think that they're going to throw in stuff like this every once in a while, but my guess is that the Apocalypse Saga and the theme of that is what we're probably going to get this next year. And then maybe 2024, they're going to top that with something different,
Hmm.
like a different way to do it. Uh, but like Eternals, for example, were so OP as a
Yes.
duo that if you added more at the time, it would have completely busted the game. I mean, those two by themselves were destroying everything.
Yes.
Undying is, I think, dialed in enough that it's like, hey, these guys can destroy everything in war. Outside of war, they're still really good, but they're not destroying everything like they can in war.
Yes.
So I hope that's the direction they go because that feels way more balanced and it's a lot more theory crafty behind the teams. Like you have all of these people making these videos about, undying, and some people say, well, you can only use this team. It's like, well, no, you can actually use a lot of different stuff and still achieve the same results. And so being able to do that instead of, hey, you have to use this against this and that's the only thing that works.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just so lame.
I agree 100%. And surprisingly, back on the Eternals for a second, they're still dominant in every game
Oh
mode.
yeah.
And they've resurged in arena again, and they're everywhere. So I mean, probably what they'll do is if they do new Eternals, they'll probably rework it with a stat deduction and probably some of those stats just to make the team not break the
Oh,
game like they already did.
oh that would piss people off.
Yeah. I really do hope they continue with these 2 3-man teams. I like the
Oh yeah.
concept of it. It's way better. I like it. So hopefully they do. Um
And keep reworking characters because bringing a character like Taskmaster back into the meta has been, in my opinion, a really healthy thing.
yes.
Like it makes things a lot more fun.
So let me ask you this perspective on a question then. So would you rather have rework characters that come periodically throughout different patches, or would you want, as new teams come out, the stats top to bottom just get adjusted on a scale?
I think that the only way to do it is to bring up the older characters. Uh, they tried it. I don't know how long you've been playing Reaper, but when they tried to debuff Quake and Black Widow
Hmm.
when they were the meta, right? Like at the beginning of the game, they were gonna change the slow mechanic, and the entire community was like literally on fire. Like if you imagine, every day on Reddit's on fire, but back then it was like you cannot do this. Like it will break the game.
Yep.
You will kill the game before it even gets going. And so they didn't do it. Man, I feel like reworking stats is the better way to go
All right, that's
because
fair.
they've already power creeped us, right? They continue to power creep.
Yeah, and it feel like it'll never end. All right, so guilty pleasure. What's the one team you want to see reworked that you have a soft spot for that you're hoping happens here soon?
Man, I love my Avengers. I love my Wave One Avengers. That's really how I became hooked on Marvel. Was that first Avengers movie? I was a nerd, like kind of a Marvel nerd, but when I first saw that, like my love for the Hulk, it was in a tiny corner of my heart. And then I saw that movie, and it was just like, oh my gosh, Hulk is the best. I love the Hulk. So I would love to see Wave One get reworked at some point. And I mean, guilty pleasure would be like, let's I don't know, let's rework the Kree. Like
Yeah,
bring Ultimus back. Like let's get Ronan his day in the sun again. I would love a Kree rework.
yeah. What's the oldest team in the game? So you've been playing since beta, I'm assuming. Um,
Basically release, not beta.
okay. So what's the oldest team you know of that needs to be reworked?
Probably the hand.
The hand.
Yeah.
I guess they have to have one toilet team. I guess that uh, maybe that's the one. I don't know.
You got a bunch of toilet teams, but aim, hand, Kree. Man, the Hydra minions suck.
So we know
Uh,
we
there's a
know we
lot.
know Tana and Minball come out with all the different the rumors if you follow their Discord. What's the one rumor that's way out there without real validation that you're excited about potentially happening?
Oh man, I'll be honest. I don't keep up with rumors a lot.
Hmm.
I know that they've been more accurate lately, but I think that's in large part due to the leaks that have happened.
Yes.
But I think the favorite one that I probably saw the most recent was like a Modoc. Like that would be cool.
Modoc game. For me, it was Mephisto
Okay.
being the potential Dark Dimension 6 potential for like next year.
Yeah.
I think the leaked roadmap or whatever they had called it at the time was Mephisto next year and then the year after Kang, to kind of line in with the King Dynasty movies and things like that. But
Yeah,
Mephisto,
but oh man, that's coming out soon, isn't it? The King.
I think it's 2026, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we
I
have
thought I thought I saw him in the Ant-Man trailer.
yeah, that's their introduction. Kind of like how the Avengers movie introduced Thanos in the first one.
Yeah,
You know, this Ant-Man's introducing the actual Kang for the first time, and then it's going to set up that
gotcha.
2 year long story arc. Um, you know, I think Fantastic Four will be one of the most amazing movies when it comes out because it sounds like it's going to really play into all that. And rumored cameo of one of the Fantastic Four members in Ant-Man, but
Oh,
we'll see if it actually happens. Um,
yeah. Fantastic Four needs to have a good movie again.
all right, so we'll ask one last question, kind of on your childhood comic favorite Hulk. Um, do you want to see a gray Hulk costume?
A gray Hulk?
The original Hulk that first came out before he was green. He was originally a gray.
No, he needs my boy needs to be green.
You want to keep him green. All right, fair enough.
Yep.
Pathfinder, tell everyone where they can find you. Once again, let me just also thank you too for coming on the show today. And I know you're out to get streaming yourself, and I know you're rushing to get on here, so I do appreciate that. But I want to make sure everyone knows where they can find you when you stream, your YouTube information. Go ahead and share what you want to share.
Yeah, so I mean, I do YouTube videos. I try to make 5 to 6 videos a week if I can. A lot of it's really catered around Crucible right now, and then whatever else that I decide to make a video on. And then I do stream on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Thursday evening, and then Sunday afternoon on Twitch. It's Pathfinder __ gaming. I had to make 2 underscores because the first one was taken, I guess. So yeah, those are where you can generally find me.
Absolutely, and we'll link both your Twitch and your YouTube in the chat. And if you guys aren't following my Discord, I can put my Discord in the chat. You'll be able to find them through there. Um, Make sure that you guys do follow them because, like, I know every alliance was thinking this and may not realize it, but they all thank you for all the infographics, the blitz maps, the how many blitz teams, and all the things that you do create for the community that every alliance in MSF uses on a daily basis. So we do appreciate that, my friend. And like I said, I just want to say thank you so much. And if you ever need anything at all, you know where to find me.
Absolutely. Much appreciated. Thanks for having me, and uh, can't wait to do this again at some point.
No, absolutely. I'm sure we'll have another round as we get into later seasons, and hopefully we'll have some more rooms to talk about. And the best part of Crucible is like it's always changing, and thus the conversation.
For sure.
Thank you again, Pathfinder. You guys have a great night. I appreciate chat for hanging out, and we'll see you guys soon.